What's up, everyone? Happy first day of spring. Hope everybody's doing well. Two objectives for this video today. All right, objective number one, I want to clarify some frequently asked questions that we've been getting from a lot of students. All right, so we'll do that first. And then second objective is to review for Fun Quiz Friday tomorrow. All right, so I'm also going to try to upload this video to YouTube and then get you the link that way, so there's no issues with the uploading of the video. Hopefully this one works out a little better. All right. So here's some frequently asked questions that we've been getting from a bunch of you. Okay. When it comes to turning in work, what do I turn in? Well, let's go through an example here. I'm looking at period 3 right now. All right. Period 3, algebra 2. So if we scroll through here, okay, so whenever you see this pink icon, that's an assignment, all right? So that's a quizzes assignment that was just posted this morning. There were 2 homework assignments that were also posted, one on St. Patrick's Day on Tuesday and then one yesterday, all right? We've been giving you over 24 hours to submit them, all right? So hopefully that's enough time. If, something happens with the technology and you have to turn it in late, just submit it whenever you can, and we'll get you some credit, all right? We're figuring this out in week 1 here and getting better each day, all right? So on your end, there should be a button when you are done with the assignment. So if you're looking at the PDF, here was the one from yesterday, evaluating logs, all right? So 1 through 16, you would complete those on either a separate piece of paper, or if you can print this out, great, all right? And the answers are included. That way you know if you're doing it correct or not as you go through it, all right? We want you to understand the process and if you're getting them right rather than do the entire worksheet wrong. We want you to know in the beginning. So I would do a few and then check, make sure you're getting the right answers and then continue on with it, all right? Some of you are sending pictures in of your work, which is great. If you can figure that out, putting the attachment in there when you assign it, when you submit it, then that's great. If not, some of you are just checking it as done, which is all we asked, all right? So we're assuming if you have questions, you're going to reach out to Mrs. K or myself, all right? So definitely feel free to post or email us with any questions. But in terms of submitting work and what do you turn in, well, it's really these pink assignments that we're turning in, okay? Anything that says assignment on it is something that you can mark as done, all right? That's what you'll see on your end, on the student side. It'll say mark as done. There'll be a button, you click that. That tells us you've completed the assignment. All right, and then reach out to us with any questions you might be having on these assignments. So hopefully that checks off, the major question we've been getting, all right? In terms of what do we submit and when is it due, all right? It should tell you the due date. Like I said, if you get it in a little bit late, then that's okay. Just submit it whenever you get a chance, all right? Try to adhere to the due dates. If not, just turn it in when you can, okay? In terms of quiz tomorrow, I'm sorry about the video from yesterday, by the way. I've noticed, when I'm filming from an iPhone, if it's longer than about 5 minutes, it takes a long time to upload, and maybe yesterday's didn't even upload, so you have to stay tuned and see if that ever gets uploaded. I broke that video up into 2 separate parts this morning. Looks like the first part has been uploaded. I'm not sure about the second part. We're still waiting on that, so if you see we're processing this video, just check back later, and hopefully eventually it gets uploaded, all right? But at least you get the first part you can check out there, which I'm answering some of those same questions right now. All right, I just posted a quiz review from today, quiz review on logs, all right? Also apologize, I'm trying to keep this as steady as possible as I'm filming this, all right? I do not have a mount. Try to improve for next week, should be a little smoother, all right? So here's the quiz review I just posted. I posted a PDF and a Word doc, all right? So hopefully you can access one of those. And let's get to it, all right? We got a Fun Quiz Friday tomorrow, so I'm gonna go through each problem, try to keep this video around 10 minutes, and then, like I said, I'll upload it to YouTube, and hopefully that should have no problems uploading. You can all view it, all right? So I printed it out here, starting from the top. It says, write each expression in exponential form, okay? So when you're in logarithmic form, as it is right now, what we're going to do is always start with that base, okay? The base is the small subscript number, okay? So the subscript here is 4. That would be the base. So I would write 4. Okay, and then, an easy way to think about it is you are swapping these two numbers. All right, the remaining two numbers, you're really just swapping their position. All right, and the 4 gets raised to the third power. So the 3 becomes an exponent. 4 to the third equals 64. And hopefully that makes sense to you, because 4 to the third power is 64. 4 times 4 times 4. Let me write that out for you. 4 times 4 times 4, that equals 64. Okay, so that's all you have to do when converting these, all right, from logarithmic to exponential and vice versa, exponential to logarithmic. All right, so here's the second one. Notice there is a variable as the base, but no worries here. All right, it doesn't ask us to solve it. It just wants us to write it in exponential form. So we start with that base. It's all about the base. All right, x to the 1/3. We're going to swap those numbers again. So x to the 1/3 equals 3. Okay, notice how these two just swap positions, except the 1/3 is now in the exponent. X to the 1/3 equals 3, and that would be all you have to do. All right. So you'll see a Google Forms quiz tomorrow with some similar questions. All right. So it'll be multiple choice, and you're just going to submit that. All right. We'll probably have the due date sometime over the weekend. Try to give you enough time to complete it. All right. Going the other way now from logarithmic to exponential. Keep in mind that same shortcut, all right, that strategy, all right, that we just swap these two numbers, all right? So when we're writing our log now, log base 5, okay, so this number we're kind of going to work left to right. So log base 5, that goes below it here as a subscript, okay? Now I'm going to swap these two numbers, so 1 over 125 equals -3. Okay, so these two are just pretty much swapping positions, all right? So we read that log base 5 of 1 over 125 equals -3. And one more example here with the converting. All right, so log, start with that. We're going to go left to right, so we're starting with the 6. Log base 6 of x equals 1/4. All right, and that would be full credit. So hopefully you're understanding those conversions, all right? And then the majority of the quiz will be evaluating these logs, all right? Which is, you can think of it like solving an equation. We're really just evaluating it, but like I said, we can really think of these as set equal to x or some variable, some question mark that we don't know yet, all right? We're gonna figure that out. So we like to use x, our favorite variable. So with number 5 here, we're doing pretty much what we did in the first two in terms of changing to exponential form and then trying to figure out from there what this mystery number is over here, this x value. So we're going to say 4, we're going to start with that base, 4 raised to the x equals 1024. So now we have to think, 4 to what exponent equals 1024? This is when a calculator could come in handy, all right? You can even use a phone calculator, start multiplying 4 and see how many times you do that until you get to 1024. It's not always that simple, but in this case, 4, well, we already saw 4 to the third here is 64, okay? 4 to the fourth would be 256, all right? So 4 to the fifth power would be 1024, all right? So 4 to the fifth power, so in this case, x equals 5. That's our mystery number. X equals 5. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 would get you 1024. 4 to the fifth. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense. There's a cool game out there, 2048, for those of you that have played it or haven't played it. It's a good way to practice that mental math with your doubles. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and so on and so forth. The goal is to get to 2048. Check that out. All right. Number 6 here, starting with the base again. 2 to what power equals 1/16. Okay, so now I have to think to myself, I need to go from an integer, 2, to a fraction. So I'm going to need some sort of negative exponent to make that happen. Well, we know 2 to the 4th is 16. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is going to get us 16. So if this said 16, we would just say x equals 4. But since it's 1 over 16, x is going to equal negative 4. That will make it a fraction, because when we say 2 to the negative 4th, that really equals 1 over 2 to the 4th, all right, which is 1 over 16. So x equals negative 4. If you need to review your exponent rules, feel free to search for that on YouTube. There's some really good exponent review videos out there for your exponent laws and rules. Okay, number 7. Same process here. 12 to what power equals 1? Okay, 12 to what power equals 1? There was a Khan Academy example of this one, okay, and you know, if you remember your exponent rules, there's only one way, there's only one number we can raise 12 to and get 1. All right, the only number that exists. You know, feel free to pause this video and shout out the answers at home. All right, hopefully we're shouting out x equals 0. All right, because that is the only number that we can raise another number to and get 1. All right, so 12 to the 0 power equals 1, so x equals 0 here. All right, you don't always have to write x equals. You could just write, you know, whatever the evaluation of this log is, but I just get in the habit of writing x here and setting up a little equation. All right, so number 8, we're going 5 to the x equals 625. And now we're going either to our mental math skills or to a calculator. 5 to what power equals 625? Well, 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125, and 125 times 5 is 625. So that's going to get you 5 to the 4th power. All right, so 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 gets you 625. So x equals 4. All right. Last two here. Okay, 81, that's our base. We're always starting with the base. 81 to what power equals 1/9? Okay, well, once again, we're going from a bigger number in 81 to a smaller number and a fraction. So most likely is going to be some fractions involved here, all right, as well as some negatives. So if you remember from the other videos, when you raise something to the 1/2 power, it's the same as square rooting it. So if we were to raise 81 to the 1/2, that would just be 9, okay? But since we want 1 over 9, we're going to need x equal to negative 1/2, all right? Negative 1/2. So once again, if I took 81 and I raised it to the 1/2 power, that's going to give me just 9. It's really saying the square root of 81 is 9. All right, so by raising it to the negative 1/2, 81 to the negative 1/2, that is equal to 1 over 81 to the 1/2, which is really 1/9, which is what we're looking for. All right, so negative 1/2 on that one. And we're going to get another fraction for number 10, okay, because when we set this one up, 8 to the x, right, 8 to what power equals 32? Well, there's no way we can just square 8 and get 32, but, you know, we can think of it as maybe we can get this to a smaller number and then get that up to 32, all right? So if we can cube root 8, the cube root of 8 is 2, right? 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. So let's write that. 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. All right, so 2 to the 3rd is 8. So if we cube root it, that'll get us down to 2. And then we got to think, okay, well, 2 to what power is 32? So if we do another 2 here, Well, 8 times 2 is 16, and 16 times 2 is 32. That's what we're looking for. So it's really to the 5th power. So when we're setting up fractions here, it's always power over root. That would be something worth noting here. When you're talking about fractions, you might see some of these on the quizzes review today as well. Power over root. That means you can always, square or cube something, or vice versa. You could cube root it or square root it first and help you figure out what these mystery numbers are, all right? So we're going to go, in this case, 8. 8 to the 1/3 will get us down to 2, but then we need 2. So that's the root part is the 1/3. The power part we said is to the 5th power. So this one is going to be to the 5 thirds. 8 to the 5 thirds equals 32. All right, so that means x equals, having trouble, I need to get a stand for next week. X equals 5 thirds. All right, there it is. X equals 5 thirds. All right, so a little over 10 minutes, but like I said, hopefully the YouTube link will work today and you guys can watch this video. All right, like we said, feel free to email us or post any questions you might be having for these logs, and study up for our fun quiz Friday tomorrow, our first one of the week. All right. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully this clarifies some questions you might be having, and keep up the great work, everybody. Take care.